parade of morons.
Our lovely Congress.
Well, Republicans finally elected a Speaker of the House. It took, 15 votes?
I think, 15 rounds.
Yeah, it took days, and they really had a hard time with it.
It's the hardest I've ever seen anyone in Congress work, honestly. They were like, we're getting out here before the weekend. It turned into like Parliament. And they were jeering each other, booing. There was standing ovations for people just voting present, which seems very strange to me. Yeah. I'm not smart, so I don't get the whole like ability to just abstain from voting, and people were applauding them last night. I'm like, oh, sure, they get an applause when they don't vote, and when I don't vote,
It's a scandal.
I get called an usher in of fascism.
And that's their fucking job, is to vote.
Yeah.
It's literally what they're supposed to be doing there.
Yeah, so like there was kind of a rebel force within. I was actually glad to see the dissent. At least it's not like everybody's forced to like just be in lockstep. And there was some debate, and I mean there was a lot of grandstanding. Essentially, there was a little rebel group of Republicans led mostly by Matt Pedo Gates. He's not really a pedo, but I think he was clear to that. But Pedo Gates, he looks like he has a good deal on a boat for me. Or like, as somebody said, and if not that, at least a timeshare. Why are you always so tan? He has like always looks like he's just back from his fake tan and his teeth whitening appointment.
I've been tanning my whole life.
I'm just gonna make fun of people for the way they look from now on.
This whole show is gonna be.
We're bringing it back to the roots of just making fun of people for their looks. Yeah, so some of them were demanding things they likely wouldn't get, like term limits. And it was just silly shenanigans where they can fundraise off of and say, I pushed for term limits, and a lot of people use it for their newsletters and their campaigns later on. Mm-hmm. Some people actually, maybe 5 of them had like impactful holdouts, but for the most part, it was just a lot of some people were like, this is what it looks like when these Americans stand up for the other Americans who they represent. And I'm like, these fucking people are so self-serving. They don't care about Joe back in their constituency.
They're just trying to angle for like
power,
a piece of the pie. So there's something they want that they can hold out for.
And in conclusion, read my lips.
This is just the Bannon wing flexing their muscle. And then there was this whole thing where like Trump saved the day, which is just them trying to spin some narrative that he's a deal maker, even though he's not. And the base actually didn't want McCarthy as the speaker. So I don't know why he thinks that's some impressive win anyways.
Today, I'm very proud of myself.
Mm-hmm. It's all so dumb. Although I did end up watching it because it was kind of funny. There were some great photos that came from last night. One was Marjorie Taylor Greene with Donald Trump Jr. on her phone, and she was trying to get to this other representative. And she's like, I've got Donald on the phone. And he was like, don't do me like that. And like they got into it. And then there was another guy who, there's a picture of one of the representatives being restrained from going after Matt Gaetz, which is a great image that will live in infamy. It was kind of fun, though.
Congress can now be called into session or something like that. It like couldn't without.
Yeah, I couldn't. But when you actually look, Jake Tapper was doing the history of how there's one that went 3 months.
Yeah,
in the 1800s
when they actually governed.
Yeah, when they actually worked.
It never happened.
It was weird. People were really acting like this was the end of democracy. I'm like, this actually seems like this democracy.
Probably good for democracy.
Yeah.
Every single one of you out there in the nation, if you're watching, democracy died tonight.
I think the biggest takeaway from this, aside from I don't really care, everyone's full of shit. in the House of Representatives because they all say, oh, we're for transparency. But the reason you were getting so many great shots last night is because when there's no Speaker of the House, there aren't as many limitations on like the angles that they could get. And so C-SPAN had like amazing footage, and people were like, you had access to people making deals and getting in arguments and all the stuff that you don't normally see. And we as Americans should demand that we get to see that all the time. C-SPAN should be in control of the camera, but they're normally not, and they won't be anymore. And you should call your elected representatives and tell them if they believe in transparency, they should let C-SPAN control the cameras.
Not gonna happen. No, not gonna happen.